Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you for joining me for another episode of the California Brief with Denise. I am Denise. I am your host. With all this information that we are going to talk about, I am on, let me see, I am on Monday through Friday at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. This is going to be replayed on my Instagram account under denise.theinformedmama. You can also find me on Facebook. And like I said, I am live every day at 3 o'clock on X, giving you what's the information, what's going on in California, what the heck is happening here, and why in the hell is our governor in Davos? Wouldn't we all like to know? Now, just again, if you're watching this on X, please leave your comments, share this new episode. Tomorrow is going to be fantastic. So I hope that you share all of this stuff. You can find me on Informed Mama 209 on X, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. So if you're wondering, like, who the heck is this woman and who is this person talking about all stuff politics, let me just break down what I do for a little bit. So my name is Denise. Like I said, I am co-founder of Freedom Angels. We're a human civil rights organization here in California. We focus on legislation and policies that impact children, women, and families. And we are political strategists. I'm also founder of Mama Militia. We are a national networking organization of women who are looking to find something else, another kind of world we want for our kids, because what is happening, not just in California, but across the nation, is so alarming for families. I am a mom of three. I have a public school kid. I have a homeschool kid. And I wish I can take my public school kid out of public schools for what is happening. But let's start with the reason why our state is in this issue is Gavin Newsom. I want to do like a game of how many times I say Gavin Newsom, you have to take a shot, because I am beyond myself with this guy. Hi, Jose. Thank you so much for commenting. I appreciate you guys being here. So Gavin Newsom has left California on a jet, probably private, to go speak to other world leaders to undermine the United States. That's what Gavin Newsom has done. And he's done all this using taxpayer money. I feel like Gavin and the Democrats just use our tax dollars as monopoly money. It is so frustrating when people think like, we voted for this. We did not vote for this whatsoever. We have a very rogue legislature. Okay, I've been doing this for 10 years. I have been at the Capitol advocating, working and talking with legislators, Democrats and Republicans. Tara and I work more with Democrats than we do Republicans, because we're a super majority. And we know that this is not what's happening in California is not the fault of the federal government. Okay, it is not. We know this is all failures from Gavin and his Democrat administration, all the way from his legislature to CARB, to the California Public Utilities Commission, to the teachers union. Even though they're not under his administration, he is under their thumb because he donates so much money. But as we are all living here, we know the disaster that is California. I mean, I love it here. I love my state. I am not moving. Born and raised here. This is our state. We should not have to move because we have a bunch of tyrants in office. But Palisades fire. Nothing is happening there. You see Spencer Pratt running for LA mayor. I love. And he's been talking about this forever. I don't understand why there isn't more push on Gavin and all his administration on why is this taking so long for families to get back into their home. And the reason why is because they don't want families back in their home. Okay, California works very, very hard to create policies that make it really hard to build, make it really hard to buy. And it's like a renter, they want to create this like state function renters, that, if that makes sense, kind of like what Mom Donnie's doing and trying to do in New York. But the hope is that these people don't go into their new homes. So we have the Palisades fire. We have the impossibilities of getting insurance here in California. If you live here, you know how hard it is to not just get car insurance, but to get fire insurance. Even renter's insurance can be hard. We're looking to buy a house right now, and we are trying to figure out like where's the best place, because we can't go into the area we really want because the fire insurance is so ridiculous. But through all this, and families who are suffering and all the things, Gavin flies out to Davos, and I wish I could figure out how to use this tech stuff so I can show you the video, but he's going on there. I mean, and this is towards like Gavin and his social media team. I don't know what they're trying to do. Like they're trying to like be like smartassy, and they're trying to like be the cool guy. And all it comes out looking like is like this really weird, pathetic, like posturing that doesn't even make any sense. Right. So he's at this world stage, and he's telling them, I should have brought knee pads for the amount of people that are bending to Trump. Excuse me, sir. I mean, I think those who live in glass houses, like, you should not be talking about knee pads. Speaking of knee pads, I don't know if you guys are on Linktree, but if you are, you can go. My name is Denise for Mama. It's very interesting to see Gavin Newsom's wife and her nonprofit that is literally taxpayer money is literally being funneled through this nonprofit, right? Allegedly through this nonprofit. And this nonprofit is creating soft porn for children in schools. I don't even want you to pretend like this isn't happening, okay? Like anytime I talk about this with people who really don't understand the gravity of what's going on in our schools, they're like, what are you talking about? That's not true. They're not doing that. I want you guys to go read the books. You can download them. You can go to Amazon. You can go to Barnes and Noble. These are like everywhere where kids are. I would suggest you start looking in the kids section. And there's a book called All Boys Aren't Blue. I have a whole list of the books that they're talking about, and they're really teaching children how to get on Tinder and how to like upload their picture and you're going to meet men and how this is going to feel and all these things. Okay. Gavin Newsom goes onto the world stage to talk about the failures of Donald Trump, yet he has just literally destroyed our beautiful state. I don't know, it's funny. And apparently the Treasury Secretary went on, let me read you what he has said, because he went on his world stage and he's like, what are you talking about, Newsom? Like, seriously? Let's see. Where is it? Let me find this. Okay. This is Edward Lawrence, California Governor Gavin Newsom called the Treasury Secretary smug. Today in Davos, the Treasury Secretary responded, and I have this to quote: Governor Newsom, who strikes me as Patrick Bateman, meets Sparkle Beach Ken. God, I wish people would not stop talking about his looks. They're like, he's so icky in person. Don't even. May be the only Californian who knows less about economics than Kamala Harris. He's here this week with his billionaire sugar daddy, Alex Soros, and Davos is a perfect place for a man who, when everyone else is on lockdown, when he was having people arrested for going to church. The secretary added, shame on him. He is too smug, too self-absorbed, and too economically illiterate to know anything. The secretary concluded, let me know if you need any further clarification. I mean, I love that. This is what's like, I just feel like Gavin is so embarrassing. And I'm not here to say like Trump makes me happy in the way he speaks either. Okay. I am saying Newsom talks like shit and his policies are like shit. And so I wish he would just like stop trying to act like the big bad guy. And he's treating California as his own nation. So he's trying to like act presidential. This is not how you do it. He doesn't have like the thing, right? There's like, some people can do it and some people can't. And he surely cannot do it. And I love it because Twitter and social media has given all of us the ability to like research stuff and look at stuff that normally we wouldn't know about, and leave it up to our narcissistic governor. This is shared by Maze Moore. If you haven't heard the story of Gavin Newsom funding and lying about funding the creation of a bust of himself to sit in San Francisco City Hall, this is honestly, like, who does that? You have like, no matter what, even through our State of the State address, everything was about the federal government. We actually had an economic forum here in Stockton, and the tickets were like $400, and they were talking about trying to have, a busting economy and help small business owners. I don't know any small business owners that could pay $400 for a ticket for the day. But I thought this was a very clever way to fundraise. So he comes to Stockton for his economic forum on, how bad things are, blah, 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 blah. And he talks about, like, Trump is for billionaires and all these things. Yet, I mean, he takes a picture with Alex Soros, and clearly we're seeing that there's favoritism amongst the millionaires of Gavin Newsom. But along with that, like yesterday, I was talking about AB 144 and the kind of like protections that Gavin Newsom has given to the vaccine manufacturers. And this is, again, this is him protecting corporations and millionaires through the pharmaceutical companies, and everybody is just fine with that. I will never understand how that's even a thing. But in all this rhetoric and everything that we see Gavin and his administration do, like, it is very interesting the way that they play on words and the way that they really prey on people who don't understand civics. For example, this is the peanuts that are thrown from elected representatives. Okay, I am in Stockton, and our city council is a hot mess express. Okay, it's basically the city, one of the largest cities in California, is being ran by a bunch of interns. So immigration is a hot topic, right? The heartstrings, everything. It's a hot topic. And so our city council decides that they wanted to put in a resolution. It was like a compassion resolution. And this is where it is very infuriating. Of either these people don't know how civics works, and if you're running for office, you should know how civics works. But they either don't know, or they are lying and gaslighting to people. And my money would be on them lying and gaslighting. They know exactly what they're doing. But they do this resolution saying people, you're going to have compassion. Stockton PD will not be working with, immigration, ICE agents, all these things, right? So people here in Stockton are commenting on there saying, thank you so much for doing all of this. Thank you so much for standing. This is the end of ICE. Get out, blah, blah, blah. A resolution does not override federal policy. And this, again, is why it is so important that we teach civics to these kids, because they don't know shit. Okay. Like, I think because civics has been so lost, people don't know that our federal government is responsible for our immigration and border policies. Our city council is not. Our city council is like parks and recreation, right? Stick with what you are supposed to do. But it gives people this false hope that the city or county or even the state can protect, can create this shield of protection, right? So you have Stockton City Council telling people this. And so people are going to be very upset when they see that ICE is here and that they're doing their job. They're going to say, hey, City Council, you promised that we're going to have compassion. And they also like played on people, because our San Joaquin County Sheriff and our Stockton PD have already made a position. We're not going to do anything with enforcing immigration. It's not their job, right? I mean, sheriffs could, but it's not their job. PD is not their job. But this is what they do. Like Alameda County and LA County created this ICE-free zone that said, they're not going to be allowed here. And then we have the state of California with Senator Scott Wiener, creating this law that no, you can't wear masks. You're going to get arrested. Our PD is going to arrest federal agents. What are you talking about? This is not a thing. Just like sanctuary cities, it was not a thing. They like to play on ignorance, and honestly, low informed voters are a freaking nightmare. Okay. But this is what they do. They like to throw you peanuts. They're like, oh, we're going to create these ice-free zones. We're going to create all this stuff. That's not going to happen. And so it's going to be like a real rude awakening when these people who are supporting these elected representatives, because that's their position, when they find out that they can't do anything for them. Stick to Parks and Recreation. How about that? Let's see. Where is this? Oh, that's what it was. So in all this, people, we've had, I don't know how many weeks, maybe like 3-4 weeks of the No Kings protest, which drives me bananas. I just want to know, and this is the thing. There was a comment on one of my posts that the COVID was for the collective good, right? Like this, you don't have to follow along with immigration and ICE and all these things. Excuse me. People still think that it's okay that we were forced, well, not we, but people were forced to wear a mask in order to move around freely in society. I mean, we had, and I shared a video on my X account. You can go look at it, but it is the Ventura County public health officer goes onto a press conference and says, if you have a family member who is sick, we are going to remove them from your home. If you only have one bathroom, we are removing them. That they have trained agents that are going to be doing door knocking. I don't know if people who are not from California realize how strict Gavin was. And when people say it was 5 years ago, I'm never letting this go. What they did and the response to this changed the lives of everybody here in California. It put so many people, it was awful. It was awful what they did. So I will never let it go. Okay. They had sand put into the skate parks. They had cities take down the nets off the basketball hoops. People had to go into hospitals alone. Women had to give birth by themselves. They had to be masked. And yet, none of these people realized how stupid that was and how dangerous it was for them, the way that they isolated people. This is what they do to inmates, right? They isolate inmates. They put you by yourself so that way you'll crack, and then you're going to comply with everything. I think, for a lot of us, well, I started getting aware of this in like 2015 or 2012, actually, with my husband, and then in policy in 2015. But a lot of people are not very familiar with the laws and things that happened, in California, and the policies that got pushed forward during COVID. When COVID launched, when it launched, California was the strictest in the nation. For a couple of weeks, my husband and I were kind of like trying to look at this and be like, what is this? Right? Because I told you yesterday, AB 626 passed in California a couple of weeks before COVID hit. And this allowed, like the public health officer in Ventura, it allowed them to make the call and do whatever they want during an outbreak with no checks and balances from the state public health officer. So, these extreme measures were so damaging, not just to families and adults, but to kids. They ruined our kids' education. So during COVID, I know a lot of people didn't know about this because the media did not really show it. Social media blocked me. I have 17 different Instagram accounts because the California Secretary of State asked Facebook and Instagram to take me down. They've also asked both platforms to block our website. And so you can't do we can't put up Freedom Angels. We can't do anything on Facebook or Instagram because it blocks us. So during the lockdowns, we waited a couple weeks and we decided like, this isn't what it seems like, right? Like, I think we're going to have to look a little bit more. And by May, we were all like, Tara and I were looking at each other and we're like, dude, this is so bad. Like, they're never going to end this. Like, we already know what this could be. Right before COVID hit, we were in Sacramento for SB 276. And this law was a law that like removed all functional exemptions to vaccines. We ended up doing civil disobedience. And I'll tell you about that in a minute because that was crazy. But during May 1 of 2020, Tara and I and Freedom Angels, we hosted the first and largest protest against the lockdowns. And it started May 1 of 2020, and then we did multiple ones. We had 10,000 people there. I mean, it was such a beautiful showing that people were, they were forced against a wall, and they did not want to, they didn't want to do this. I mean, like, what are you talking about, Gavin? You're telling us that we can't sing at church. You're telling us that we can't have Easter with our family. You are fining churches for being open, yet strip clubs were open. Your winery was open. All bars were open. Liquor stores were open. This was like the devil walking California, right? And so when people came to our rallies, they were really inspired by the amount of people who were there and who were free, right? And from all walks of life. I mean, this wasn't like one particular demographic. This was people from all over the state of California would come to our protests to lock arms with each other, right? Because that's what was lost during COVID, is people's personal connection with others. And so we really very much support being in person and doing these types of events, right? I love protests that are peaceful, like ours did not end very peaceful because of Gavin Newsom. So 10,000 people there. We're at the Capitol. We have the whole steps are filled with people, and we're in the front of the Capitol building, and we hear somebody leak to us, tell us they were friends who worked with CHP, but they told us, you guys need to get a hold of this because we just got orders to push you off the fucking lawn. This was a direct order. Get them off my fucking lawn. This is what we were told. So at that moment, Tara and I are standing there and we're looking at the Capitol, and we know like inside the Capitol, there's a rotunda. And in that rotunda, there was over 300 officers. I want to say 600. I don't want to say it if it's not true, but we're going to say over 300. Okay. 300 officers inside the Capitol in riot gear. This was a peaceful protest. Everything about it was peaceful. We had music, we had food, people were dancing. We were just simply saying, no, you can't tell us that we have to stay home, right? So we see this happening. They're going into a skirmish line. We're like, holy shit, like captains have to go down with the ship, right? Like, I am not going to ask people to come to a protest if I feel that it's dangerous, that I feel like we can't handle the situation. So we had moms with babies and strollers. I have a picture up. A mom, a friend of ours, was on the lawn of the Capitol building breastfeeding her baby when officers surrounded her in riot gear and told her to get up and was pushing her off the lawn for a peaceful protest. We have always said, like, don't interfere with police officers. Don't agitate them. If somebody comes up, like, try to, what's that word? Try to like not de-escalate. Try to de-escalate the situation, right? We always say this. We get on the microphone. We're like, don't antagonize people. And so at this point, all the families are very scared. Tara and I and another friend of ours, we ended up on the steps of the Capitol, and 32 of us were arrested violently for a peaceful protest at the California Capitol. No incidences, no talks of violence. It was a family event. And I was one of the people arrested. Tara and I were one of the people arrested. I have this blue dress on, and I'm standing there with my flag, and we had one of the officers grab me by my dress and pulled me over, threw me on the ground, zip tied me. I'm like, bro, I have a dress on. Like, can we talk? Like, I'm not even resisting. Like, I know how this goes. I'm not resisting it. But he goes like this in my face and tells me, you better behave. They cite us, they arrest us, they put us in the basement of the Capitol building. All 32 of us, we're zip tied. I get carried like out, and my dress is like falling. And I'm like telling the officers, hey, can you please, I will walk. Like, this is so unnecessary. Nope, no deal. I ended up going, they put us in the basement of the Capitol. They take us through the tunnels, but they held us there for hours, like 5 hours. No, nothing, no charges, nothing, just sitting there. So then as this happens, right, I see the protest, what they call protest. And it's just bamboozling because we got ticketed and cited. They said we had to go to court. It was being a public health threat. That's what they charged us with. And then eventually within the next couple of weeks, the county dropped our charges on everyone because BLM happened and they started burning buildings. And so they could not tell us that we were a public health threat as, Sacramento was burning. And this is where, if you ever look at these pictures, I had this big sign and it shows like Gavin Newsom drinking his wine saying, protesters, you matter. Your rage is real. Keep going. That's when he was talking about BLM. That's when he was saying, keep going, keep burning the buildings down. But with all of this stuff, like, it's crazy because there's this story of this baby that got maced or something. And now it shows that the parents left the baby in the car so they can get out and go protest. And in that, they ended up getting maced. So there was someone who was commenting saying, a protest is a protest. Like, either you can take kids or you don't. And that is not apples to apples, right? I would never take my kid to a place that I knew was dangerous, and I knew like they're doing XYZ. And this wasn't the first issue that we had at the Capitol. We had tons of protests there, so much so that we had Antifa come to our protest and try to fight people. They tried to fight me. They tried to run me over. Men try to fight me. I fight men. I don't care. But it was so mind-boggling that we had to do our own security. The Sacramento Bee posted a picture and a article about me talking about these protests and how we had all of these like men who were like acting security and all these things, but they left out the point of the reason why we had to have our own security. And this is again under Gavin Newsom. Everything I'm talking to you about is because of him. Okay, I want you guys to know what he's doing, so that way you can tell your friends, because he's going to California the entire nation. So we have these protests. We ask Sacramento PD. One of the things that Tara and I do is that when we have an event, we work with the police department, because we are not trying to fight them. We are just trying to, our First Amendment right is to protest. We have to do that. That is the foundation of being in America, is we have the right to protest, right? So we make sure we connect with the police officers. They know our plan. We know the CHP in the Capitol, where it's all done very, very safe. So that way families feel safe coming out. As we're having these very family-friendly events, we start noticing Antifa is getting a little bit more active in the area, and they end up, blocking people in. They would bring like weapons to try to hurt us. So much that we were asking Sacramento PD, can you help us? Like, this is not okay. They can't be intimidating people like this. And Sacramento PD told us, we were told we were only to intervene for loss of life. So if we are in Sacramento with 10,000 people at our protest, Antifa is there following people to their car, beating them up, trying to run people over. We're going to get our own security. We're not going to just leave it up to the police to say, okay, well, since you can't help us, I'm just sorry, guys. We would have so many elderly people come to our events. We had it like a huge bus of, I think there were Vietnamese immigrants, and they came. And one of the gentlemen, he was very scared to walk to his car because he was being intimidated. He had an American flag and he was a Trump supporter, and he was very scared. He asked us if we could help him. So we had to have our own guys walk him to his car so that way he was safe and he wouldn't get hurt. He was like 70 years old. These guys don't care. We had families that were standing on the sidewalk with their kids crossing the street, and Antifa would pull up in a van and bear mace them. We what Gavin and his whole administration, including police departments here in Sacramento, what they did to us during COVID, I wish that people honestly experienced the kind of craziness that he pushed, because people don't really move unless their backs are against the wall. We had so much good energy during that time because people were like, no, you're not going to tell me that I have to stay home. No, you're not going to do this and that. But you know, unless it directly affects you, you're not going to get involved. So now I just feel people are so comfortable, like it's really hard for people to get involved in politics. And when we try to have calls to action and things like that, it just doesn't go anywhere. So, hopefully people are starting to realize and they see this information. I am very hell bent on telling you guys all the things that I know and all the things that are coming out of California. If you are in Stockton, we have an event coming up on April 7th. We're going to be hosting the Informed Families Forum, where I'll be talking about all the things that are impacting children and families. It's an in-person event. I know a lot of people want it online, but there's just some things that you can't talk about online. I don't like having a lot of things recorded, especially questions from people. So this is going to be a live event. You're going to walk out of there with the information that you need when it comes to public schools, private schools, laws in California, how to homeschool. We've been homeschooling our son. He's in the 6th grade. And I just can't even tell you how much of a better education this kid is getting. I am so glad that we decided not to put him in public school. It was a really hard decision because we decided this when I was pregnant. And my husband, I'm going to try to get him on this show. You guys have to hear from him. He is so smart. But when we were pregnant, he's like, hey, babe, like, we're going to have to look at homeschooling because at already 2014 we already saw the things that were happening. And so he's like, we're going to have to homeschool. Like, public schools are getting very weird. We can't just ignore that, right? And so he helped me homeschool. I was like, I can't do that. Are you insane? How the hell am I going to graduate my kids? But my son is doing great. Our son is doing great. I'm thankful that Primo works the way he works and provides for us, because this is really the American dream right here. Okay. I used to fall for the whole, like, I want to be at work. I don't want to have, I don't want to have a bunch of kids. I don't want to stay home, all these things. And I think after I met him, honestly, I was like, wow, this is actually really nice to be able to have a husband that like works so hard so I can stay home. I can homeschool my son. We take very traditional roles. And so it's shocking, honestly, to see so many, especially Latinas, so many Latinas who talk a little bit of smack when it comes to either, being a stay-at-home mom or having kids, but also that get upset at me for my political views. I get that a lot. I feel like the most racist people are the white liberals and the other Latinos, because apparently we have to correlate our skin color to our political affiliation, which is wild to me. I mean, like I said on my first podcast, I was a Democrat that voted straight down party lines. I either voted down party lines, and if that person had a Mexican surname, a Spanish surname, I was voting for them. That's how low informed I was. Okay, that's how much I did not know about politics. That's why I don't get mad when I hear the things that people say. It's just like, I feel really bad that you're still in that mindset, because eventually these people are going to end up feeling exactly what we told them they were going to feel, which is going to bring me back. Let's talk a little bit about another state real fast. Let's talk about Virginia, because Virginia got a new governor, and holy shit, they are burning through bills. Let's read some of these together. So Greg Price posts this. Here are just a few of the bills they have introduced: a new 4.3 sales tax on Uber Eats, Amazon deliveries, new sales tax on admissions to high variety of businesses, create two new higher tax brackets of 8% and 10% on people making over 600K, a new 10% tax bracket for anyone making over a million, 3.8 investment tax on top of state income tax, raise the hotel tax, new personal property tax on landscaping equipment, ban gas powered leaf blowers. This all sounds very Democrat, doesn't it? Guarantee illegal aliens free education, make it illegal to approach somebody at an abortion clinic, extend the time absentee ballots can be received. It feels like Gavin wrote these. Allow people to cast their votes electronically through the internet, expand ranked choice voting, extend deadline for ballot curing, um, make it illegal to hand count ballots. Gay. Uh, $500 sales tax on firearms suppressors, assault weapons. What does that even mean? Assault weapons and large capacity magazines ban. 11% tax on firearms and ammunition. Lower the criminal penalties for robbery. What? Remove mandatory minimum sentencing, allow localities to install speed cameras, replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. This is the agenda of the Democrats. I don't know if you guys remember back in COVID days, Gavin Newsom created the Western and Eastern Pact. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that means that Western and Eastern blue states are going to mimic the policies that Gavin has done to California. So this is where it's at. This is why nobody can ever convince me to move to have a better life. This kind of stuff is happening everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. You are going to experience this if you don't get involved. Even in red states, look at Texas. It's already getting flipped. Florida's already getting flipped in certain districts. I don't know, the whole like you should just leave before California sinks. I think that California is not a lost cause. I think that you should be watching what is happening here, and the federal government needs to investigate where all of this tax money has went, because it is gone. We don't have, our roads are shit. Okay, we do not have the capacity to hold rainwater. Our areas flood ridiculously. You can't get insurance. Food is ridiculously expensive because of the taxes that are on gas of the trucks that are bringing this here. This is how it just rolls over. I'm just hoping eventually we're going to have some kind of form of voter ID, because we can't do this anymore. So I hope you guys are tuned in tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be chef's kiss. Let me tell you, we are going to have Amy Reichart on. All right. Amy has been investigating the daycare frauds happening here in California. She uncovered tons of stuff, so much so that Gavin decided to lock the database to find out about these daycares and if they have violated any laws. So this is going to be a juicy podcast tomorrow. Please make sure to tune in. We're going to be live on X at 3:00 Pacific Standard Time, and we will have a replay. Why do I keep saying we? I will have a replay on Instagram. If you are on Instagram, you can find me at Denise the Informed Mama. I'll also be on Facebook, and I have a new YouTube channel called The California Brief. So you can go check that out. I just uploaded my one video yesterday. This is a brand new podcast. I really hope to bring a lot of information to you so that way you guys feel like knowledge is just so incredibly powerful. I hope that you take something out of this. You can also visit my website, theinformedmama.org. There is where I have all kinds of stuff on how to homeschool, laws in California, how to find your representative, elections 2026. It's a great website. I also have on there events. So tickets are going to go on sale very soon for the Informed Families Forum. It's going to be a really great time to come and network with your friends that align with you. Also, if you are looking for a community of women who think like you, who align with you, who you want to create some kind of community, you need support. My organization, Mom Militia, will be opening up for applications February 1st. We are all over the nation. You can go to our website. You can check out who we are, what we do. If you have a location that you do not see on our site and you want to create one, we will help you navigate that. We have a great website for members only that has things like, how to how to bartering with each other. We do a lot of really great trainings together, and we meet in person once a month. So you can go over to momilitia.org to check that out. And then Tara and I are working on a very important project. Okay, a very important project that will bring Californians' voices together. I hope that you guys are signed up for our email blast at freedom-angels.org. And I hope that you are signed up on my website. Again, theinformedmama.org. You can go over to freedomangels.org to see what we're doing. You're going to get a private letter, and then we're not going to go public with what we're doing, not just yet. But I can promise you, in all the 10 years that we have worked to advocate for California families, this is the next step to pivot and to bring balance to our state by, getting people activated in politics. We speak and work directly with Democrat legislators, and we try to bring the best policies forward so that way we can course correct what's happening in California. So again, you can watch me over on Instagram as a replay. I'll be back tomorrow with Amy. We're going to have an amazing conversation of fraud within the daycare system in California. Do not miss that. Please share this with your friends. Thank you so much for joining the California Brief. My name is Denise, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.